So now we've saved our sheet. Let's take a look at it. What we have actually here is a functional sheet. It will now calculate feed types, put in proportions, it'll figure out the price, you can change the diet, the number of birds, all that's going to work now and it'll do all the math. It's not very intuitive yet though, and you would have to keep switching between pages to figure out what feed is which numbers, and it could use some work. But it works. But let's do more than that. Let's knock it up a few steps. So my next thing I want to do on here then is we're going to add slider bars and drop down menus to this. Because right now I had like that 1, 2, 3. Wouldn't it be better if it had a drop down menu and you could choose wheat, sorghum, and so forth? We can also go through and do one for the ages so they can just slide the bar over the older the birds are. And so forth. The problem though is the options to do this have not actually been turned on for your Excel yet. It's one of these things that are not turned on by default, probably because it just confuses people. So first let's see if it's turned on, and then we'll fix it if it's not. So back to my Excel. What I'm looking for is something up here that says developer, and I don't see that. So that tells me I need to turn this on. Now I go to File, and I'm going to go to Options. Now, if you're in an earlier version of this, it's probably right around here somewhere. You're going to be digging around and looking for a checkbox that says something about Developer Toolbar. If you can't find it and you're having problems and you're on an older version of Excel, maybe just Google how to turn on the Developer Toolbar in the version of Office you're in, Office 2013, 10, whatever. Now, otherwise, in the 2016 version, they moved it. They moved it to here to Customize Ribbon. And over here on the right, see how it's not checked? Developer. Now this is how you can change the menu. And I believe we changed this in Word and we played around a little bit with it. Same thing here. You can drag items over, edit your menu. If there's certain things you use more than others, you can add them to places. So if you're in Excel all the time and you're finding yourself clicking a lot to find things, why not move the things you really like to the home ribbon or some other ribbon, or maybe make your own? Something to keep in mind. Okay, I'm going to hit OK. There. So now I have developer, so I can do things. And what we're going to do is we're going to work here underneath this insert area and in these top form controls. They're different ones. I find the older ones are just easier to work with, so I use these ones. So we did this. Oh, here we go. Here's a picture then showing you where it was in the older version in 2013. So under Popular, Show Developer tab. Oh good, I'm glad there's an old picture here. So we're going to insert a scroll bar next to the age. Now the scroll bar looks like it's up and down. It can go either way. So let's drag and drop that bar in there. So right over here in E4, insert, and find that little bar. There it is right there. Spinner. Oh, nope, not that one. Scroll bar. There we go. Now I'm going to click, hold, and drag it out. You can resize it afterwards. There it is. I'm going to make this a little bigger. There. I click off it, and now I have a scroll bar. It does absolutely nothing. But we haven't hooked it up to anything yet. But the bar's there. So if I want to change it again, I find it easiest to right click on it, and then I can come back and start changing the size of it and so forth. Okay, bar's drawn. Now, right click on that bar, choose Format from the menu that pops up. And we're going to change it so the youngest the bird can be is 1. The current value is going to sit at 1. The maximum, 76 weeks, 1 old bird. The increment change, meaning every click, 1. Page change, if you hit page up and page down, let's have it jump like 5. And then lastly, where is all this going? D4. That's where we want it to go. So let's try that. Right click on it, Format Controls. Current value, 1. Minimum value, they can't be 0, they got to be at least a week old. Maximum value, let's not get crazy, only 76. Increment 1, how about we just have it go up by 5? Cell link, where do we want the cell to pop up? See the one that's there now? Let's put it there. So the idea here is no longer will I need to type 1, 2, 3, 4 and all that stuff. What's going to happen now is I move that scroll bar and that 1's going to change. Watch that. Okay, I'm going to click off it and watch the 1. Ooh. And did you see what was happening here? The prices are changing because they're older. Cool. Now, that's neat, but it's doing the same feed, and I shouldn't be feeding these older birds on this early diet. So we have to fix that too. Okay, we tried that. So the next one we're going to do then is the drop-down menu, because I want to be able to pick the diet that they're supposed to be having at this time. So we're going to go into D5 and then use this drop-down menu and draw a box that fills D5 and 6. Then we're going to come back and put the formula parts in. So let's do that first. So D5 and 6, I'm going to go right over the top of that 1. Insert, drop-down menu, click, hold, and drag it out. Make it a little bit bigger. Use my arrow key, maybe move it a little bit. Arrow's neat because you can nudge things. We did that in Word, I believe. Okay, and now I'm going to right click on it. I'm going to format it. And I'll leave it right there. I want to go back to the PowerPoint for a sec. So what we're doing then is we're going to format it to a typed up range that's already over there in the nutrition form, because it's going to allow us to pick each one of these items. So what it does automatically from here then is it goes, you pick the first one, I'll put a 1 in there. You pick the second, I'll put a 2 in there. I didn't have to put numbers next to it or anything. It's just going to count down and put the number. So keep that in mind when you're building these, that it's limited, this drop down, to just putting in a 1, 2, 3, 4, and so forth. Okay, let's do that. So the input range, back to my spreadsheet, is on the nutrition table. And you'll see it over on the right here. We didn't change that into a table really. And I'm just going to highlight all of those. The cell link is where do you want that at? Now I can't really click it now because I went and stuck this box over it. So I'm just going to type it. I want it to go into D5. I'm going to lock it down. I don't think I really have to. How many drop downs? Well, I don't even think there was 8. How many were there? Let's go look. There are 6. So really, I don't see any more need than 6 for the drop down. We'll give it some shading. That looks nice. What was I talking about there? Well, what I meant is this. It shows 6. There only were 6. So there's really no point of putting a 7th and 8th on there. Let's pick one. Look how those changed. Let's pick another one. Targets are changing because the target was looking at that number that's underneath here. That number underneath there is showing up because of what we're picking here. Cool, huh? Okay, good place to save it again. Alrighty. All right, we'll try yours out. We went through, here's where it looks like on those menus, in the older version especially. It's changed a little bit for this version, but it was the same layout. Next, okay, we're going to do some more controls. Remember where it said wheat 1, sorghum 2, and so forth? Let's make a little drop-down one where I can change the name there, and it'll change that 1, 2, 3, and it'll come off of that feed table. So back to here. What I mean is right there, right in that 1, let's add in another drop down. Insert, drop down. Now if you just click, it puts one in there, but it controls the size. Okay, I'm going to see if I can get it inside the box. Maybe a little bit taller. Okay, right click on it. Format control, input range, That's the feeds. Now, just like the other one, we don't need the numbers. It's just counting down. It has no other way it can do anything but that. So I'm just going to highlight just the, don't get the ingredients, otherwise ingredient became 1. And that's going to mess everything up. So we started from wheat, and I dragged down. Okay. Cell link. That is going to be B, nope, C. C10. Again, it's blocked over by the box, so I'm just going to put it in there. Okay. I'll put some shading in. And 8's fine. It was 16 here or so, but that'd be a really long drop-down menu. So let's just leave it at 8, and they can scroll. Okay, so it shows NA now, but that's because there's nothing underneath it. That 1's gone. But if I change this, boom, the wheat's back. And it shows wheat here. I'm going to right-click on this, and click on it again, and just use my arrow key and move it just a little bit. Okay, well this can get a little tiresome copying these down, so we have some tricks we can do on that, but let's make sure what else I have to do before I go there. Okay, did you get yours to show wheat when you changed it down? So we're going to continue this down for each one. Now, when you're doing this, you could copy and paste it, and that's what I'm going to do, but a big point here, the cell link isn't going to change. Where that first one was pointing to C10 and it put the little 1 there, if you copy and paste it, that 1 is always going to get changed. So even though we're copying and paste it, we still have to go back to every one of these format controls, go into it and say, hey, the cell link is now D10, E10, F10, yeah, and so forth going down. So I have to do that with each one of them. Don't miss one, because it'll change one of the other ones. That's a real common mistake in this assignment. So let me do mine. I'm going to right-click, copy, click in the next square, paste. Click in the next square, paste. Next square, paste. Next square, paste. Okay, so let's change all of them. Okay, so remember we have to change each one. So I'm going to go to this first one up here. Format control. This one should be a C11, not C10. 11. Next one, right-click. Format control. This one should be C12. Right click. It's hard to get them sometimes there. C13. Am I still in the right one? Yes. Okay, and then the last one, format control. C14. Okay, so they all changed the wheat because that's what the drop down says, but let's check them all. I'm going to choose a different one for each one to make sure that they actually are switching the way they're supposed to be. Oops. There. So far, looks like it's working. So we've gone through, tested them all out. Looks like it's working on all of them. Perfect. Good point to save it. So a couple more things to do still. Those 20s, those percentages we were doing, I think it'd be nice if we could have a scroll bar there like we did with the age, but here that we could scroll it and touch it back and forth to make your mixture percentages. So we're going to draw a bar to the right of the portions just like we did earlier with the ages. Then draw one, copy and paste it down, and we're going to line them all up. And then we have to change those. So let's draw the bars first. So here, I think I'll draw it here in target, next to target area. So insert, and that little scroll bar again. And let's draw a little scroll bar right inside there. I'm going to size it out. Perfect. Okay, what are we doing here then? Format control. That 20, let's see, 0 is the current value. Okay, let's make this current value 20. The minimum value, 0, that sounds fine. Maximum, these are all good. Cell link, what are we changing? That 20 right there, that's our new cell link. So now I'm going to test it and just click off, Click one. There it goes. Okay, copy it. Paste it. Oops. Paste it. Paste it. Probably shouldn't have made mine so tall. And now I have to change each one of them. The first one's going to be fine. Second one, format control. And that's going to be D11. Format control. D12. Format control. D13. And lastly, format control. D14, get in there. There. So now they should all change. Perfect. Okay. So we made the scroll bars. We did the settings on them just like that. Here's how it looks in the older version. Test them out. Repeat for all of them. Make sure they all work and they're not changing each other or the wrong ones. Now, as it is though, I could have 5 ingredients at 100%. And that doesn't make any sense. But I don't really have an easy way of limiting that number. So the best I can think of doing at this point is let's put a item above it that shows us what the total percentage is at this point. And that way at least you can say, oh, I'm over 100 or I'm under, or I need to add a little bit. Nice easy fix for this. Not the best, but it'll be easy, it'll work. So what I'm thinking is right there. Let's do equals the sum, S-U-M, open parenthesis, of these, highlight all of them, close the parenthesis. Now that's going to add them up, but it's going to be a whole number, and I really like to have that percent sign. So I'm going to divide that by 100, and then change that into a percent. There, 101%. So now I know I need to take off 1% somewhere, 100%. Now you might even play with like some conditional formatting here and change it where if it's above 1, then it turns bright yellow. Let's just do that. That sounds interesting. So I'm going to do conditional formatting, and we haven't really covered these before. Hopefully we'll be able to get into it in one of the future chapters. But what we're going to do now is I'm going to look for highlight cell rules greater than 100%. Perfect. What do I want to do with it? I want you to fill it with a yellow fill, dark yellow text. That doesn't sound very nice. Light red fill. Let's see what that does. So now, let's increase it. There we go. Look at that. Popped right up. Heck, we can make that bold. That worked out well. Then reduce one now, and it changed the color again. Conditional formatting is rather cool. We'll be getting back to that though. Okay. So we're going to add some charts next. Now would be a good point to save it, catch up your spreadsheet to where we're at, and we're going to dive into the charts.